Hi, Carl here for ProAV TV. I'm at IBC 2017 at the Panasonic stand, talking to Luc about the brand new and very exciting EVA1. Okay, so thank you for taking time to talk to us first off, and let's talk a little bit about the EVA1.
Yeah, sure.
This must be a pretty big show for you.
Yeah, it's a big show, and it's just the beginning. Now we're just 3 hours after the opening of the show, and it's already very crowded.
It's only, I was here literally before the doors opened and it was already rammed.
Yeah. Just like every year it's like this.
There's a lot of interest in this camera.
Yeah, especially the EVA, because it's the only new product that will be launched very soon in October, end of the next month. And there's a lot of interest already on the social network, and you can see a lot of chat about it.
What do you think of the reception that it's had online already? I mean, are people generally getting the right impression of it, do you think? Is it going the way you were intending?
Yeah, it's going. Yeah, the feedback is good so far, but it's very interesting because there are a lot of discussion when people haven't seen the camera, even when they don't know the price and everything. And
it's amazing how much people can find to talk about when they haven't touched it or seen any footage from it yet.
Yeah, but it's very positive in general, and the important that for us is that people talk about it.
So, just for the people who, there might be a couple of people watching this who don't already know what the camera is, but let's give a brief run through of the specs, shall we?
So, the idea of the EVA is to have a large sensor camera, but between the GH5, which is a DSLR, and the VariCam LT, which is a very high-end camera that few people can afford. So this camera will be available end of next month, and the price will be 7,290 euros, the public price. So typically this is the kind of camera that will be purchased by productions or independent filmmakers to do more or less everything. Actually, the only limitation is that there is no PL mount. I mean, you cannot adapt a PL mount. It's a native EF mount. So maybe for feature films or big production, when you want cine lens, you may choose something else. But now more and more manufacturers
swap over to the VariCam lines.
Yeah, and there's no point to have a 30K lens on a 7K camera. But now more and more manufacturers start to have EF mount and PL mount. For example, we have an Ingenieux Zoom there. You can exchange the mount, so you can have it in EF mount. So it will fit perfectly for documentaries, for corporate films, for short films, commercials, music video, pretty much everything, or a camera B for feature films or drama, because it's very compact and very light. It can be used on drones, or gimbal stabilizer, or small equipment, sliders, etc.
I think you're showing it here on a gimbal. Is it the Ronin 2? Is it the one that you've got here?
Yeah, we have the Ronin 2. And I think DJI said that it's only one on IBC.
Oh, cool.
It's here, so we are lucky. And so the body is only 1.2 kilo, so it's very, very light when you hold it without the accessories, because here you have the ARRI accessories.
And you can take them all off, can't you? You can take off the top handle and the side grip.
Yeah. The top handle can be unmounted very easily without screwdriver. The grip can be unmounted with just a small lock. So very easily you can have a very compact box to put on a drone or a gimbal. What is interesting is the sensor, because it's a new sensor.
Yes, that's important, isn't it? So it's not one from the VariCam line or one from the Lumix line, because obviously they haven't had one this large, but it's not the same as the VariCam.
Exactly. It's not the same as the VariCam, but it's the same engineer team who developed the sensor. So you will have the same technology, same colors on the Bayer filter, so you have exactly the same color space, you have the same log curve, and you have the same dual native ISO technology.
If we had customers interested in matching the two, and so maybe they wanted to use a VariCam as an A camera and an EVA as a B camera, how closely do you think the images match?
Very close indeed, because you have the same log curve, you can use the same LUT, and especially with Panasonic, when you buy two cameras, you can make sure that you have the same picture. There is no need to do two different LUT for each sensor. All sensors are exactly the same. And then you have the same color space. And it is very interesting because for the VariCam we provide a IDT to transform the VariCam gamut to AC's gamut.
Nice.
It works very well, and you can use the same file for the EVA. So if you want to shoot with both cameras, you have just one color workflow. You don't have to validate two workflow, two IDTs. For the colorist, it's a perfect. So the main difference between the VariCam sensor and this one is that the VariCam sensor, it's a 4K sensor. This one is 5.7K sensor.
So you get a bit of downsampling. What's the main reason behind the 5.7K?
The idea of the 5.7K is to have a real 4K resolution. Because when you work with a single sensor, you lose resolution because you don't have 4K green, 4K blue, 4K red.
You need different pixels for each of the different colors. Yeah.
So at the end, after the debayering, you get instead of having 2,160 lines visible. I mean, your file has 2,160 lines, but what you can really measure on the picture, if you shoot a shot, is about 1,800, something like that. So with a higher resolution, you can have a real 4K visible resolution. And
fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
So this is the first time you've shown people sort of the footage. I know you had an event in America, but first time in the Europe really that people have been seeing the footage from this camera.
Yeah.
What do you think the reception's been?
Well, we showed for the first time the image 1 hour ago, so I don't have much feedback.
You haven't had much chance to talk to people.
No. But I'm very happy with this video. We shot a video in Iceland. And it was a very early firmware with a lot of bugs and an early firmware and still some problem on the sensor. But the result is, I think it's amazing. And I was doing the color grading at amazing digital studio in France. And when you see the log and you put the IDT to go to ACs, you can see the colors are just very rich and very saturated and just right. You don't want to touch anything.
Right.
It's the skin tones, the green. Then you can give a different look if you want, but it's like there is nothing to correct in the picture, in the colors or the skin tone. It's really amazing.
Certainly, the skin tones that I've been seeing on the screens here and stuff look beautiful.
Yeah. And we've made some different kind of skin tone on different shots, but. Every time we saw the native picture, it was really amazing. And usually, when you shoot with a camera and you start with the log and you make a LUT and you have to increase the color, you have to increase the saturation, you have to shift a bit the color. But on this footage, there are some very nice landscape with the iceberg, and it was so blue, so deeply blue. We had to decrease the saturation because it looks so unreal.
Looks fake.
And it's really amazing. And we had the same picture from the EVA and from the GH5 because we shot the making of on the GH5, and I could see the difference. And the color space of the EVA is just amazing. You have a lot of saturation. Maybe you cannot see it on the 709 version, but if you look it on the BT 2020 version, we made a 2020 version, or P3 on the cinema screen. It's really amazing.
Did you do much testing of low light?
We did test on the low light. I did the test with chart. It's very interesting because we have the 2500 ISO.
Yes, this dual native ISO, which is a fantastic technology.
Yeah. And when you shoot in very low light, you have a noise that comes from the light itself. It's called a shot noise because every pixel don't receive the same amount of photons. So there is a variation of the light. And on the EVA, there is noise reduction that is very, very efficient. There are 3 levels. It's off, 1 or 2. By default, it's off.
Right.
But if you think there is too much noise for what you want, you can use the noise reduction. And I've checked the 800 ISO and the 2500 ISO with noise reduction. At the end, you get less noise at 2500 ISO than 800.
Wow.
And the resolution is still huge because it's 5.7K. So this is the noise reduction is very effective.
So, in terms of firmware and in terms of specs and stuff, what's going to be, when the camera first ships, what's going to be on the camera, and then what's going to be added later?
So what will be added later is, there are two things, the intra codecs.
So that's 400 megabits a second one, like the GH5.
Yeah, exactly. It's already on the GH5. I mean, no, it was announced, but it will be, I think, end of
Yes,
September.
I think it's
like
in beta at the moment.
So it will come a bit later on the EVA because we have other things to, to finalize. And there will be a RAW output on the SDI output, and we plan to do a 5.7K RAW and up to 30p, and a 4K with a crop, a 4K RAW up to 60p.
That 5.7K RAW, what's going to record that? What are people going to pair it with?
Probably Atomos. I've talked with Atomos and they are ready to do it. And probably Convergent Design, probably, I don't know, maybe everybody is welcome to...
They'll introduce things to support as time goes on. Cool, I think it's going to be a really, really popular camera. Our customers are certainly quite excited. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you, Carl.